We start in a world without abortion rights. Abortion services in Arizona have shut down a week after the Supreme Court struck down Roe v. Wade. Republican Attorney General Mark Brnovich declared the state's 150-year-old abortion ban was the law, and he'll ask a judge to lift a court order that's blocked the ban for decades. The state's leading provider of abortion services is figuring out what to do next. Brittany Fonteno, Chief Executive Officer of Planned Parenthood of Arizona, has some answers. Welcome to Sunday Square Off. Welcome to Arizona. You're fairly new here.
I am. Thank you so much for the warm welcome.
Tell us, just let folks know a little bit about yourself. What drew you into the area of reproductive health? Why are you doing this job?
That's a really great question, and people ask it all the time. So my father was a civil rights activist. He did a lot of work around voter registration, making sure that the rights that I have today, that he was fighting for them. And so I kind of grew up in that sphere. I also want to note that I grew up in a very conservative religious environment. And through living life, I had an evolution where I stopped seeing the world as black and white and started seeing it as shades of gray. And really started with my political activism when I was in college in Washington, D.C., and haven't looked back.
So now you face a new world.
Yes.
Attorney General Mark Brnovich is going to go to court any day to reinstate Arizona's territorial era ban. Will Planned, and the ban was blocked back in '73 by Planned Parenthood, an affiliate in southern Arizona. Will Planned Parenthood try to block Mark Brnovich?
Absolutely. We have so many patients in communities that we serve, and we know that abortion care is essential. And we are not going to back down. We're not going to stop fighting for our patients in communities ever. And so Mark Brnovich will definitely see us in court.
You will be in court, and what would that look like?
Well, we have a position, and our position is that the pre-Roe bans have to be harmonized. They have to be made clear with the many other laws and regulations that have been put on the books in Arizona over the past several decades. Even conservatives in Brnovich's own party are in disagreement about what the next law of the land should be when it comes to abortion in Arizona. So there's really a lot of confusion going on right now. We've always known that this was going to absolutely need to play out in court.
And so that's the way it's going to go. So Mark Brnovich has said abortion is banned in Arizona. Is it banned right now?
Well, I would love clarity on that. I would love for our chief legal officer to give actual clarity, because when the Supreme Court decision came down last Friday, we have been living in a state of chaos and confusion. We have been having to deny patients health care that we could be able to provide them because there has not been clarity from any of our elected officials about what our rights are. And so Brnovich's tweet was contradictory. In one sentence, he said, the pre-Roe bans, the complete ban on abortion, which is cruel and inhumane, is currently in effect. In the next sentence, he said that he would go to court to ask the court to lift the injunction. These two things are contradictory. So right now, his tweet hasn't provided any clarity. It has only served to make more chaos and confusion in Arizona.
So Planned Parenthood is the largest provider of abortion services in the state. I think 2020 numbers compiled by the state show your clinics perform about 40% of all abortions in the state. So in this period where there's a gray area and maybe ultimately a ban, what are you doing to help serve those women? There's certainly still a demand for abortion services.
Absolutely. I think you bring up a really great point, and that is just because you criminalize abortion or you make it inaccessible, it doesn't take away people's very real need for this service. And so I want to let everyone know that our doors are still open. We operate 7 health centers. We have telehealth services. And while we're paused on providing abortion services because we were forced to be paused due to the legal uncertainty in Arizona, we are still connecting patients to information about how to access abortion in areas where it remains clearly safe and legal. And then in our health centers, we're providing a full range of other sexual and reproductive health services that we know only becomes more important in a post-Roe Arizona.
So talk about that connection. I read in the LA Times recently, you got together with Planned Parenthood in San Diego a few months ago because you saw this coming. And the reporting appears to say you put together a plan not just to provide referrals, but to provide money for transportation, for a place to stay, a very kind of full service help for folks, for women who want abortion services, and then pulled back to the point where it's now referrals. Am I reading that right? And if so, why'd you pull back?
That's a really great question. So we did know that this was coming for many months. The writing has been on the wall for many years, actually. And so we started talking to our partners, our fellow Planned Parenthood affiliates in different parts of the country, and this one in particular, Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest, we know is very close to Arizona, driving distance, flying. And so we decided to work out what a continuum of care would look like for patients. If they come to us because we're their trusted local provider, we're then able to provide them abortion options counseling. And then we're able to provide them with information about how they can access safe and legal abortion at Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest, which operates about 16 health centers in Southern California. They can book them an airplane ticket, they can make sure that they have accommodations, childcare, anything they need to really break down barriers to care, because we know that being forced to flee your community for basic health care is something that no one should ever have to do.
So will that California affiliate cover the costs as well?
Yes.
So you refer them to California, California covers the costs.
Yes.
How will this affect Planned Parenthood's business? Could this put you out of business? The loss, the inability to perform these services?
So what I really want people to know, even though we are so proud to have provided abortion services and we really aim to be able to provide them again under the law, we provide so many other really critical sexual and reproductive health care services. And over the past couple of months, we've really been focused on expanding our services. So we provide birth control, gender-affirming care, telehealth services, STI testing and treatment, I believe I already said gender-affirming care, HIV management. We've been serving Arizonans for 4 generations, and we plan to do it for many more.
We're getting a lot of questions about a ballot initiative that started after the leak of the draft opinion back in May, but it was started by a Tucson group. They have to gather 350,000 signatures by next Thursday.
Yes, less than a week.
July 7th. Has Planned Parenthood been supporting that? And do you think that will make it onto the ballot?
Well, I'm aware of the effort, and Planned Parenthood is not involved in this effort to do a constitutional amendment. We know that ultimately we have the same goal, right? And that's to make sure that Arizonans and all people have reproductive freedom. And we know that it will take a really broad coalition of us fighting for abortion rights and access. However, we feel that it's highly unlikely that this makes it onto the ballot. As you mentioned, over 350,000 signatures, and really there's going to be court battles over the validity of these signatures. We have a really critical election coming up, the governorship, attorney general, and the possibility of being able to flip the legislature. Reproductive health, rights, and justice is on the line on the ballot today, and that is what we're going to be focused on.
All right, we'll have to end it there. Brittany Fonteno, great to meet you, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.